Alrighty, so we head towards round 2 of the PCC, or PSC, Preseason Challenge, that'll do. PTC, TC, of course, check them out, PCTC as well, for all your C needs. All right, so we kick off Friday night, Barn, and normally, as regular listeners know, we'd go through each game and give you all our thoughts and best bets and that sort of thing. But we'll just touch on a couple of minutes per game and what we want to see from them and where they're headed. Absolutely. So we kick off Friday night at 6 o'clock with Newcastle hosting Para. And Newcastle right out their full-strength spine. We see Gay Guy and Best return. We've got Frizzell and Fitzgibbon in the back row. Adam Elliott's playing off the bench with Jack Johns, who, as you suggested, maybe deserves that. And Parramatta are pretty much full strength bar Makasivo. So Sini, Sean Russell look to be on one edge, fighting for that spot. Brandon Moses back. We've got RCG, Paulo, Sean Lane, Dury, Hopgood. Perhaps a clue to how they're going to start the year. What do you want to see out of this game?
Oh, well, this is the forwards for me is going to be the big matchup in this game. The Knights, obviously, coming off the back of their performance last week, really need to lift their intensity in the forwards, and obviously the names that they've brought back in should make a difference. But that's the way Parramatta base their game as well. So I can see this being a big forecast into the future for both of these teams. If the Parramatta forward pack runs all over the top of Newcastle, there's very danger signs there. I want to see Hastings get a bit more involved. Didn't have a lot of involvement last week against the Sharks, and if the forward pack can get on a roll, hopefully there's some sort of combination that he can strike up with Ponga there, and then name Miller at fullback. Yeah.
Yes.
So see
Ponga
what
6,
kind of combination you're going to get out of the spine there with the 6, 7, 9 and 1. But I'd expect Parramatta to be dominant for large parts of this game.
I think if Para don't win and win well, then we're all looking at...
The big question mark for me for Parramatta is Matt Doorey at 12. You'd expect probably Murchie to maybe take that spot during the year, and old mate with the suspension, Madison will come in there eventually, but there's going to be 3 weeks without him, so
well,
it's
I
going to be
assume
interesting how they fill that hole.
Madison takes Papai's spot and ends up back on an edge.
Would think so.
Which is great, cool.
Yep.
Especially if Hopgood steps up, he's more than capable of covering that. So
it'll be a question of Dory or Murchie who gets that bench spot when Madison does come back. But yeah, there's a little bit of a question mark on the edge, that one edge there for Parramatta. So
the second game is the Trooks hosting the Seagulls, and they're rolling out Teddy, Tupou, return, Corey Allen and Paulo on the other edge, which again perhaps a suggestion of how we're headed because there's not too many missing on that side. Obviously, Joey Manu's got to come back.
Yeah, so I'd say Allen and Paulo are probably playing for the same spot there.
Yeah, on the other side there, Hutchinson plays 6 with a head knock to Keary last week. Collins, Lodge, the Butcher Boys start in the back row, and Radley. Jake Turbin does retain a bench spot, as does C. Wong, White, and May. For Manly, KO Weeks gets to start at fullback this week with Parker, Cooler, Garrick all back into the team, and we're going to see Schuster at 6 with Cooper Johns on his inside. Kumtong gets to, is it Chan Kumtong, I should say? Yep. Gordon Cam Chung Tong retains the 9 there, and a few of the big boys are all playing. Well, let's see how this connection's at East's work. We're going to see Cheese hopefully starting and having all his forwards around him. And let's just see how good the Trooks look, I think.
I'm a bit disappointed that DCE's not playing.
I assume he's just
at least for 20 minutes.
I assume he's just...
you got a whole new combination between your 6 and 7. I know you've been training in the entire off season, but realistically, wouldn't you like to put them in a gameplay situation for at least 20 minutes? Where,
I would have thought so.
You know, even if you
even if nothing else, to be able to say, look, Matt, I just want you over there instead of here when you like.
Even if 20 minutes, he only plays 20 minutes of the first half. Comes on after 20 minutes, plays 20 minutes, and they get some sort of idea of what they're
cool.
going to.
We got to try assist.
That's all I need. You've got a big forward pack coming at you. You've got the Roosters coming at you. for 20 minutes. Just go out there and show us what you've got. You know what I mean? Like, K Weeks is an interesting one.
Because if nothing else, it also creates pressure on Schuster. Because if he gets smashed this week, everyone's going to turn, oh, he's got nothing.
Oh, but it was only Cooper Johns there. It wasn't DCE, and looking more to me that if Schuster doesn't aim up in 4 or 5 weeks, he might end up back in the back row or on the bench rotation, and Cooper goes to 6.
Or giving Cooper another crack. Maybe Seabold's gone. I want to see him again.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's surprising that DCE's not playing for 20 minutes or so in this game. Spine's really big one in this one for me, especially for the Roosters. I don't see Teddy playing more than half an hour, but that first half an hour or so could be warning signs for this Manly side. If they get if they're on the back foot for 20, 30 minutes, the score could be 20 or 30 nil coming in after half an hour. I don't expect it to be, but realistically, if that Roosters spine gets up and going, they could put a lot of points on early in this game.
And you'd love to see it. And I guess the Butcher Boys, no Tupanua, no
which is not surprising considering the back.
They ended no Tupanua, and obviously they've lost our man
Crichton,
Takiaho, and Guzzi. We didn't mention that, but our thoughts with him. Hopefully,
absolutely.
He is, my favourite player. Anyway, hopefully he's back. KO Weeks, and interesting that Garrick was promised supposedly promised a centre spot, and he's starting on a wing. But anyway, we'll see what that all means.
It is still trials, obviously.
We get to talk about that next week. Charity Shield is 4:20 on Saturday afternoon, time-honoured time slot for the Charity Shield, as they are going to roll out Tyrell Sloan at 1. And Ben Hunt does play. Musgrove, Laurie, Murdoch, Marcellus, Sewer, Burns, Sullivan is 14, so there he is. And Latrell, it looks pretty much full strength for the Bunnies.
Absolutely, it does.
14 and 15, Mamazillis and Taff. So perhaps half a forward short, but it's a trial game, so they can cover that.
Yeah, you might see Mo Wiley take that position.
Souths and Southswell.
Would think so.
Latrell will do Latrell stuff for a half hour and sit down, see how we get. But we'll get to see how Tass and Graham go again. Graham still can't get a spot on the other side of the field, but they're all happy. The Spruik, Davey Wiley, the Supercoach Spruik, not getting picked. But
yeah, I dare say he'll take that bench rotation. With, as you said, the Souths are probably a forward short. And coming into the NRL, I dare say you'll probably see Mamazella end up back out of the 17 and Mo Ali back in there come round 1.
And they're missing Havili.
Yeah, but he's out for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Isaiah Tass I expect to do well again. 6 and 7 is going to be interesting to see if they've improved on their combination from the back end of last year. I know they went a long way into the semi-finals, but I think they were flattered a little bit by some of the, obviously the Sharks didn't turn up in that last game that they played in the finals, and I think they probably went a little bit further than what they deserved to at the back end of last year. Forward pack's tremendous. They should have a field day with the Dragons forward pack. It has been bolstered with Sewer coming back in, but there's, for me, like, look at that front row rotation up against the South's front row rotation.
But this is what you were going to get from Dragons every week. So
majority of the time, yeah.
What are we going to expect apart from what we see here?
There's
really.
I
can't think of
Jack DeBellin's not there, but
and Jackson Bird.
And yeah,
I can't think of a forward pack they will. Jack Bird, sorry.
Yeah.
I can't think of a forward pack we will put them over.
Yeah, well,
the course of the year.
For all the Dragons fans out there saying, why is everyone tipping us to run last? Have a look at your forward pack and compare it to the majority of the rest of the
tell us which forward pack you think is worse, and God bless all of them, because individually they're not bad players, but it's just not.
Yep.
Not working. All right, they've got the World Cup Challenge 10-7 now. It's been put back an hour with the 40-degree predicted heat on Saturday afternoon. What are you doing, Barn? Are we going to watch it up here?
Because an hour later is going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, have you been around here? Turn all the they should just turn the sprinkles on now.
Last Saturday it was 38, and I was in my swimming pool at midnight.
Yeah.
So,
In fairness, you weren't allowed in your bed, so you had to go somewhere.
oh,
Yeah.
that's a different story.
But it.
No,
Yeah,
I was
it
in the
doesn't
swimming
cool
pool
down.
from 9 o'clock at night until midnight, man.
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
As I mentioned, there's a few standouts in this St Helens team in New Wellesby's, Makinson, and I'm really looking forward to Alex Wamsley trying to take it up to Moses Leota and Fisher Harris, but it may be a one-man band up against an army coming at him, so we'll see how that ends up.
I mentioned no Dylan Edwards for
it's an interesting
Penrith. I assume he just kept fresh. I don't know. He did do a lot of work last year, but didn't go to the World Cup. Taruva is in the centres with Crichton 1. Apart from that, I guess what you see is what you get.
They probably just wanted to have another look at Taruva and probably Crichton at 1 in case,
Well, Taylor
things
May's
go sideways during the year.
May's playing but won't play first couple of weeks. I guess you need to have a body up and going. And then Garner and Hosking both been named in the back row.
Yeah, absolutely. And both look like promising additions to this team, even though they've lost a bit. They've got players there that are going to fill a hole and probably do good jobs at different times of the year. They'll have their good games and their games that aren't so good. But, this Penrith team's still right up there in this NRL competition. I expect them to dispose of St Helens quite well.
The back end of this game could be interesting in that if they're up by 30, I wonder if St Helens pull everyone and Penrith pull everyone. Oh, no, it's only 10. I think it's only 10. I think there's only still... It's only 10 interchanges or something.
Is it? I
It's
thought it
not
was
massive.
still unlimited for the
No, I
for
think
the
it is
trials.
actually. It was supposed to be international rules and they expanded it.
Because of the challenge.
So I guess
Cup.
they're going to be on a field.
Yeah,
so hopefully
But
not.
I expect the Penrith centres to
Oh, they'll win by
absolutely
40.
wipe the floor with St Helens.
Yeah, this will be this could end the World Club Challenge for a few.
I think you'll see
future.
the St Helens halves lose absolute control by halftime and have no idea what's going on coming into the second half of the game.
Yeah. Gap job. All right, we get to you get to see Blake Moser in action this week because the 9 o'clock game on Saturday is Brisbane and Cowboys. Colbo, Oates, Staggs, Farnworth, Arthurs is the back line. Jock Madden's playing because Reynolds is injured. Essentially, fairly close. Reynolds aside, it's pretty much what they're going to serve up round 1.
Yep.
And it's pretty much what Cowboys are going to serve up round 1. So looking forward to seeing it. I just can't think of too many bodies not there. No one obvious. Hess, Nanai, Tamalolo. No, everyone's there. So we're getting 2 full-strength teams. Gazeski gets a bench spot. Tamo does too. Neem, Granville on the bench. What do you want to see from these two?
I want to see where the halves combination from the Cowboys has gone. I expect it to improve from what last year. You've all heard my previews. I think the Cowboys are one of the teams to beat this year. They've got Val Holmes. I expect to have a really good game. Katoni Staggs, for me, is one who looked really good at the start of last week and then just faded into oblivion, which he has a habit of doing.
Doesn't he, Katoni? Because he said he's been injured for so long.
Well, apparently he's come back from he was carrying an injury for the majority of last year, which they've fixed up. So hopefully he can get back to his best because at his best he's a fantastic player. But for me, the 11, 12 and 13 is where this game's going to be won and lost, and then the bench rotation on top of that. I've got raps on Jordan Ricky. I've said he's a very good player as well as Kate Will, but I don't think they're in all Cohen Hess. We can leave him out of this conversation. So we'll do the 12 and 13. But Tamalolo up against Carrigan and Jordan Ricky up against Nanai. They're really very comparative to each other as well because, Carrigan's got a little bit more ball playing and is a little bit more subtle, but then you've got Tamalolo who can wreck the front door, and Nanai and Ricky are very similar players as well. I think they could at the end of this game dominate who wins this one. I think it'll be close for a while, but I think by the back end of the game, I expect the Cowboys to be running on fresher legs. You saw last year they were probably the fittest team in the competition, apart from Penrith.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if they are.
Last 20 minutes, half an hour.
I saw the TikTok this week of Todd Payton signing a young kid's autograph on his drink bottle, and he said, only if you go and do 2 laps of the field for me. So,
oh, really?
Todd's even keeping the fans fit, so God bless him. A great man. I agree. Your team's going to be fitter. Looking forward to seeing because if Brisbane hang in this and does become a slugfest, then I think it's positive signs.
Yeah, I
but,
think if Brisbane hang within 8 to 10 points, they could take that as a
big game for Jock, because we've seen how Reynolds is. Madden might play 15 first grade games this year.
Yeah, possibly.
So he could well make a name for himself. The Sunday game kicks off at 1 o'clock, where the Warriors host the Storm, and again, pretty close to full strength. We get to see Chance at fullback, Dallon's back, Pompey's back, and Martin Johnson is the half combination. Egan Barnett, Ford, Niokore, Tohu's rolled out here. Dylan Walker at 14. Nick Meaney gets a start at 1. Will Warbrick, probably a watch for all super coaches, because if he nails down that wing spot, he's a nice cheapie for you all. And as suggested, Smith, Tonopia, Anderson fill out that back row that doesn't necessarily fill me with the most confidence in the world. We get to see Mad Dog and Hughes, and essentially fairly close again. I can't think of two. Coates is on the bench. He might still be to come, but not too many missing from this Melbourne team. If this Melbourne this is a real tester, because this forward pack
This has got me confused. Like, I've got the Warriors running fucking close to last.
And
you
could
look at these lineups and you
Melbourne
go,
out of this.
This could be a close game of football.
I think it is going to be a close game of football, and at home. I'm not going to go as far to say Warriors will win this, but when you start comparing apples to apples on a team list in an actual game of football, it's put up and sharp time for Melbourne.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, obviously, their spine stands out over the Warriors' spine. But if you start comparing, Barnett against Walsh, I don't know why Barnett's playing 10, but Barnett, Welsh, Jackson Ford, Liero, much the same player. Niokore Katoa, much the same player. Harris is over the top of Eisenhuth, you would imagine. Dylan Walker, Bronson Garlick, who knows, young fellow, older fellow, both got something to play for. Afoa, King, Lewis Curran, Kamakamika, Tom Ale. Like, it's the forward packs line up almost identical.
Yep.
So the Storm have to put the Storm spine.
But then if you're cancelling out,
special.
you're then also saying Montoya is capable of bossing a youngster on a wing.
Yes, absolutely.
And potentially those centres are too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, all of a sudden you're going...
The only difference is the 6, the 7 and the 9.
Yeah.
So, and obviously everyone has their good games and their bad games. First game for the first trial game.
Christian Welsh has got a lot on his shoulders this year.
He's going to have to carry a few blokes. Yeah,
as does Nelson. And Nelson did a few Herculean jobs last year.
Nelson was fantastic at different times last year. I'd still be... Had to put my last dollar on someone, I'd still be putting it on the Storm. And probably by 8 to 10 points. But, yeah, the more I look at this Warriors team, I think they're going to cause a few problems for a few different teams. I think I may have to elevate them out of 16th up to a bit further up the ladder.
They're going to finish higher than that. I don't know what that means, but I think they're finishing bottom three or 4.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to see from that game? You just want to see everyone just get through it fit? And
yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you don't want to see any of the superstars get injured. I'd like to see how Chance is going to fit into this back line for the Warriors.
Actually, want to see a bit of attacking flair from him, because if not, you're slightly disappointed.
Or at least running through a few holes that are created by somebody, just being in the right position to take an inside-outside ball and create for somebody else or run through some holes.
Yep.
But, yeah.
3 o'clock Sunday, we head to Belmore for a doubleheader, which, if it wasn't 78 degrees, I might think about going to. But the Tigers host the Raiders. Laurie, Nofaluma, Naden, Mamalo, Dewey, Clemmer, Papai, Twal all are back. Twal starting at 13. He's interesting. And Staines for now gets the bench spot. Sean Bloor and Tukey Simpkins on the bench. We get Rapana, Kotrick, Tomoko, Chris, Smith, Shields all back for Canberra, which in fairness, none of them played last week. So, we can't necessarily pen them yet. The whole back 7 didn't play last week.
Well, Harley Shields does have some pace, which we did mention earlier. But
Puppy, Young, White, yeah. So essentially we're seeing two close to full strength teams. No Appy, no Brooks.
No Offer.
No Joffa, no. Still, I think there's another calf issue there.
Okay.
Wakeham at concern. Um, I'd like to see the right side defence be much better. I think that's my big takeaway, and just see the best of the forwards here. Let's see the forwards up and rolling and see what those combinations offer. We've been promised more ball work from the forward pack, so we just want to see that in action and just what Adam Dewey brings. He's got a lot to play for this year. There's
Yeah, absolutely.
potentially a job up for grabs, and Laurie can hammer down. I'm expecting a good game from him. He can hammer down, and if he's involved a bit here, bit of broken field, bit of offload play. In this against this sort of Canberra team, he's the right one to cop into puppy offload and run away and score. For Canberra, Fogarty, White, and big game for them to prove themselves and get up and going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
They need
just
to provide something for their outside backs. While as they may not be the fastest and most dynamic outside backs in the world, they are rugged, they are strong, and they do their job week in and week out. And if given the right opportunities, they should be able to score some tries against the outside backs here against the Tigers. So it's going to be. I think this is what you're going to see out of the Raiders for the majority of the year. Really big grinding type of game of football through the middle of the field, which will give you some pointers on your Tigers, how they're going to go through the middle of the field, because they will be tested in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
Especially with the likes of Tarpanay, Papali'i, Gula, Hudson Young. But it's going to be interesting. I think you'll get a better read on the Tigers' defence after this game, especially on the edges that will be tested by the likes of White and was it Chris? No, Tomoko. Yeah, Tomoko.
Big game
Chris,
for Tommy Talau because
Hudson Young.
he's been a bit of a spruik from Sheens, and it's that edge is the concern. So we'll see how that lines up.
I think this one will answer a lot of questions. To be honest, I can see Twile moving back into the forwards when Joe Offengowie comes back in, because he looked really good in that 13 there.
Yeah, absolutely. And Bateman to come back in too.
If he can ever get on a plane.
If he's allowed ever out of the country. And Sean Bloor probably ends up on that right edge until Bateman gets here. So interesting to watch all of that. One of the more intriguing games of the weekend, actually, really.
I think it'd be a grind for a large part, but I expect the Raiders to probably come away with the back end of the game.
Yeah. It was not a gap job. I think both teams walk away going, okay,
decent.
We know where we're headed.
Head out, yeah.
Dogs and Sharks, and this is interesting too. This is real interesting because we're getting the Fox is going to have a blowout. We're getting Hayes Perham to start at 1. Burton, Flanagan, we're going to see the combination. Max King gets the starting prop spot. Good for him. With TPJ, Kickout, this looks full strength to me. 14 goes to Reynolds. Sutton on the bench. We get Kennedy back for the Sharks. Katoa Ramium, Talakai, Mulitano. Again, looks pretty much, there's no one missing from that team. That looks like their full-strength team.
That is.
So we're going to get a real good feel of how both these teams, a potential grand final team, as you've suggested, against a potential hot up-and-coming team. And a real good feel for this. What are you looking for here, Barn?
There's matchups all over the field in this game. This should be competitive in pretty much every position of the field, to be honest. The Nines will be a good matchup. Blake Brayley's running game up against Mahoney's service and the way he gets his forwards rolling onto the ball, which Brayley does quite well as well. The deciding factor for me will be the outside backs in this game.
Yeah.
You've seen the Sharks with Katoa, Mulitano, Talakai and Ramium, what they bring each week. There's probably a couple of question marks around Avarillo, Alamati, but Kiraz and Josh Adokar are going to be fantastic as well. So the way that the competition, the one-on-one competitions, I think will probably solve this game in the centres.
If you're a Dogs fan, you're going to know how these centres stack up defensively because you know you've got two centres who are going to test you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mulitano as well, who sort of floats in and into centre every now and then as well. So there's going to be, I dare say there'll be a lot of questions asked of the Dogs' outside back defence. But I don't think the Dogs aren't going to ask any questions either. I think they'll be knocking on the door in and around the back rowers and the centres as well, causing some problems. Be interesting to see how Hayes Perham lines up and can attack probably one of the better defensive outside backs in the competition. But yeah, I expect this to be a very competitive matchup. And would hope the Sharks win by a try or two by the end of the game, but I can see this could be competitive for at least an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably the game, actually, I've already gone off early, but this will be the game of the weekend, I think, if everyone stays in the field.
Roosters Manly should be okay as well, but it doesn't help that DCE's not there.
And we finish up with the Dolphins and the Titans, and we're going to get, I'm guessing, what is pretty close to a full-strength team. Hammer, Bostock, New, Branko Lee, Robert Jennings. Interesting see if Bostock or Jennings keeps the wing spot when Edric's back, actually. Milford, O'Sullivan, Bromwich, the Professor, Kafusi, Bromwich, Gilbert is their starting pack. So both Wallace and Stone and SCSE on the bench. It's not a bad team. It's not a bad team at all.
It's a good, very good forward rotation.
AJ Foran, Boyd, Verrills, Tino, Bofamer, Isaac Liu, and Mo, all who is on the bench for the record, all return this week. Looks a good matchup again.
I wouldn't be surprised if Dolphins win this game, to be honest.
Well, from what we've said, they... Man, if
the questions for the Titans
foundations crumble if
the
Dolphins win this.
Last 2 years, the question's been about the outside defence for the Titans, and I can't see it being... Shoop should add a little bit, but you've got Sammy there. Jojo Fafita's okay in defence, but not great. Khan Pereira is a question mark. He's only, we've only seen him the once. He's done some good things in reserve grade, but we'll see how he matches up against, the Dolphins' outside backs aren't going to set the world on fire either, but you do have some attacking strike and
But New's got footwork. He's
Robert
got
Jennings
kick for
job.
himself. He do it, yeah.
Bostock's got wraps on him. Hammer as well. I'm really interested to see how Hammer chimes into the back line here and works with his halves combination.
Yeah.
O'Sullivan and
The best at testing news is
Milford.
better than Hammer.
I would assume so. Bigger body as well.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that works. I think they've probably gone with Tessie probably because his defence is a little bit better than Hammer in the centres.
Yeah.
I think the forward packs go close to cancelling each other out. Dolphins may even have a slight edge, to be honest. Fafita and Firma may have a little bit more X factor, but play for play over 80 minutes, the Dolphins aren't going to.
You're going to trust.
Yeah, you're not going to. They're not going to leave you wondering. What's coming for 80 minutes. So, yeah, thoughts?
I agree. I think I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking just forward to seeing these Dolphins forwards roll over each other and see how they go. I think I don't disagree that Dolphins can win this game. Their halves the issue. In fact, if they had 2 star halves, you'd be declaring them.
Absolutely.
So from there, and possibly more established fullback, but I feel like there's probably more pace and X factor in the outside backs of the Dolphins.
And they've probably got a better bench rotation.
And just quickly looking, you're going to get from SESE, Wallace and Stone. And we know we're getting from Fodawaker, but we know Stimson as well.
Cody's question marks, but so is Jaden Campbell. Where does he fit into a team coming in on the 14?
If this is his lot in life, you're going to have to see something from him. Probably play, and I guess he's going to be playing dummy half. Like, what else is he coming and do?
I would think so.
So I want to see Titans be competitive for Titans fans' sake.
Absolutely.
Because if Dolphins roll them over, then concerns. But we've suggested that already. Like I said, if they had a 6, even if they had a 6 or a 7, they would be specials. If they had a Matt Burton or anyone else. But looking forward to it because it's a new era. It's something different. It's fresh, and it's good. I love footy chaos. That's it. That's a whirlwind look. We probably could have done that as a second show, to be honest, to make everyone's lives easy for everyone. But hey, here we are.
Down, do what you want. You're the producer.
That's just one. All right. Anything else you want to see from the weekend? What's got you frothing?
Oh, well, Shark supporter, mate. It's Hines
see
coming
your
back into
boys.
that side. Want to see the boys, absolutely. Kennedy running amok, hopefully Mulatano. But, yeah, the Dogs as well, man. The Dogs
Dogs got
have
me excited a little
seriously
bit now.
got me excited. I think they are now very, very competitive team in the majority of the games they're going to play this year. So.
I feel a little bit to me like where I was with Brisbane this time last year. I think I'm going to get excited and
I
probably
think they're
overly
probably
excited
missing
at times.
maybe one or two like really strike outside backs, but there's something there.
We'll see.
Definitely something
There's
there.
upside to
And a
Alamondi.
half. You want a half, obviously.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see this weekend. Look forward to doing it, Barn. We managed to get 2 hours and 10 minutes out of just you and I. So, what else do you want from life, eh? We'll be back this time next week to do. Actually, we'll do probably Monday night next. No, we've got a week off, don't we? Comp doesn't start for 2 weeks, so we'll do Monday night next week to review everything, and then we'll be back the week after to preview the first game, which could well even be via Zoom.
Yep.
This is me and him planning it on the fly. But for a half-hour preview.
Might even do Wednesday next week if it's only just the review, but
Oh, yeah, what's
see whatever works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give a shit. Anyway, stay tuned, listeners. You've got a show at some point. It's always a surprise.
Excuse to have a
Sometimes we
beer
don't know when we're doing
and talk rubbish.
it. Take care. Go to Rugby League merch. Go to PCTC. And we will talk soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.